Welcome to my website. I'm Dr. Tony Gallardi. Tonight, we're going to be talking about the planet Venus. Venus is giving us a lot of interesting challenges between now and June 25th, 2020. So I'm going to talk a little bit about how to use the Venus energy while we're going through these very challenging times. And everyone is going through their own personal transitions as well as this exciting and challenging global transition. So I'm going to first talk about Venus, then I'm going to do an activation, which is a way in which I really work with your frequency. So I'm going to be connecting, no matter when you are watching this, you're going to feel the transmission that comes energetically through this video. So I'm going to be taking you up a frequency when we do the activation, what I call an activation. And then I'm going to be talking a little bit about some tools to be accessing and to be utilizing during this very, very challenging transition. And then I'm going to be doing a second activation. And with that activation, we're going to have an opportunity to actually help the whole world, the entire global community, our global family that we're coming to really connect with in such a real way now. That's what's exciting, is that we're really all coming together as one family. And I'm going to be talking about an activation in the third part. We'll be talking about how to bring everybody together into this upper frequency, as well as some prayers for those who are on the front line, all the healthcare workers. So I know that you, as you're listening to this, are going to want to listen to the whole program, which is only going to be about 40 minutes long, okay? So we're going to start with Venus. Venus is out of bounds for the month of April, and actually April and May. And what that means when Venus goes out of bounds is that it's kind of out of control, and Venus rules love and money. And, you know, who we love, what we love, how we love. And while everyone is kind of in close quarters, if you have family, you're really having to confront this. You know, you're having to confront your relationships and what is good about your relationships and what needs some improvement. So Venus is really going to kind of expand you in a way. I like to look at it as expansion rather than conflict. I mean, it may take the form as we are getting more restless being at home. Now that we know that we may be at home indefinitely in close quarters, that can create a lot of restlessness, not just in children, but in adults as well. So I'm just going to talk about some remedies for helping with that too. So with Venus out of bounds, I just want to invite you to look at, because Venus is going to be in Gemini, and it's in the planet, it's in the sign of Gemini now. And Gemini rules communication. So while you're in this time of being in close quarters, be looking at, how do I communicate? Do I communicate with love? Mercury has been in Pisces since early February. We've had the energy of being taught compassion and kindness. And Pisces also rules the immune system. So that's something everyone is needing to look at, is, are my health habits really supporting me being able to go through this transition strong and healthy? One of the things that research that just came out today, actually, interesting, as we're going into Mercury in Aries, you know, Friday, April 10th, Mercury goes into Aries. And I knew that when Mercury went into Aries, certain things would come to light. One of those things that has come to light is that 95%, this is what the statistic is showing, of those in both the United States and worldwide who have died from the coronavirus. Now, this is according to a statistic that came through Medium, that they had, you know, comorbidity factors. So those comorbidity factors that would influence someone who's between the ages of 20 and 40 would be people who were suffering from diabetes, some kind of hypertension. Tony, I guess it was age 20 to 55 really was where that group where they were looking at why is it, that younger people are also getting this. Well, or it's not just getting it, but those who have the most serious where it becomes fatal. There are people who have chronic lung issues, people who smoke, people who have obesity, as a corroborating factor, and that's affecting and challenging their health in general. Those are the people who are most at risk. So for the rest of us who are practicing healthy habits, there are some things that you can even upgrade on a spiritual level. And I'll be talking about that a little bit later. But with Mercury going into Aries, I'm inviting you to pay attention to what are you seeing through all of the media and everything all the fear tactics that are being used. Some of this is, it's important for us to be staying safe. It's important for us to be at home. Yes, this is important. However, you don't have to get sucked into, I'm going to die from this virus, because the numbers, of course, have been going up as a result of having better testing. So I would just encourage you to look through all of the whatever communications you're receiving, whether that's through the internet or on broadcast television, to notice what is it that feels actually true for you, rather than a fear tactic to keep you passive. Just pay attention. Before this whole coronavirus, COVID-19 started, I was talking about using the metaphor from the Matrix, taking the red pill, which means to not be part of the cultural matrix. We are in this massive transition astrologically that we have never seen on this planet before. Jupiter, Pluto, and Saturn all went lined up in Capricorn. Now Saturn has gone into Aquarius temporarily. In July, it starts to move back into Capricorn. So November and December, we'll see Jupiter, Pluto, and Saturn lining back up again in Capricorn. So the deconstruction of society is happening, and it doesn't happen overnight. So if it is a 1 year, healing process that's meant to take place, there are things that you can do that are really important to do. One of those things that I really encourage under the Venus energy is to pay attention to, how do I express with Gemini? How do I express in such a way that reflects the red pill in my heart, which means your truest self with kindness and compassion, taking that energy from Mercury and Pisces and moving it into Aries, because we are now moving toward a solar eclipse at 0 degrees Cancer on June 21st. This is a very, very powerful eclipse that's coming. And I'll be talking about it in further videos about what the 0 degrees Cancer means. But we're already in the influence, because we start to feel the energy of an eclipse 3 months before and 3 months after. The last time we had solar eclipse at 0 degrees Cancer was 3 months before 9/11. And so society changed, right? We went through a big transition in our world 20 years ago, 19 years ago. And we're going through that again. So it's all part of a bigger plan. If we can look at it, that there's a planetary, there's a galaxy, conspiracy going on to help us spiritually transform, rather than getting lost in all the conspiracy theories. Look at it from that perspective, that really it is Mother Earth, the moon, and Venus right now, along with Jupiter, Pluto, and Saturn, that are helping you to make this spiritual transition. So I'm going to now move into a little activation. And this activation is going to be to help open the heart a little deeper. I'm going to call in the planet Venus because she is a beautiful goddess, and she is a very real force in the universe. And we're going to call her in, and you can call in your angelic guides if you have a relationship with angelic guides. I happen to have a relationship with angelic guides and spiritual teachers, so I'm going to call in my spiritual teachers If you have ancestors that you want to call in, that you love, again, Venus is about love, bring them in. And if there are any kinds of fears that are coming up, since Venus rules money, this is an opportunity to actually work with releasing any fears you have about your economic future, and the tenuousness of that. So that what can come when we do the new moon in 2 weeks, I'll be doing a new moon, it can bring in actually new projects. So in these next 2 weeks, it's a great time to be listening to your dreams. Pay attention to your sleeping dreams. Before you go to bed at night, when I work with my clients individually, I work extensively with the dream time with my clients. And with those who had never remembered any dreams in their lives, when they start working with me, start remembering their dreams, because there's so much material that's actually going on unconsciously. We only know what's really happening with this. I'm a psychotherapist, a Jungian-oriented psychotherapist for 30 years. And I can tell you that there's so much that goes on that's 90% subconscious. So by feeding the dream time with the suggestion, and the suggestion being, show me what you would have me do next. Because my work is about helping people get in touch with their true purpose. What is their soul calling them to do? One of the ways that your soul can give you answers is in the dream time. So pay attention to that. So we're going to get started. So allow yourself to take a moment. Now take a breath. Take another breath. And now slowly turn to your body, closing your eyes. And deeply placing a hand over your heart really helps to anchor this, so that we put the heart in charge and the brain gets its marching orders from the heart. Yes, just keep letting more and more breathing into the heart go on, so that we create heart-brain coherence. Just continue breathing. And just allow yourself to remember all the times you've used your hands to express love to a family member, to one of your pets, all the ways that you've used these hands, because the sense memory is there in your hands. Your hands are full. In the cellular level, they are full of love. So we're going to now direct that love back into your own heart. All that love that is aggregated in your hands, that you've extended to other people, we're going to now let that love drop in and melt deeply into your heart. And I'm getting a message to use this right now. If there's anyone that you're ready to forgive, and it could be yourself as well, allow yourself to let that forgiveness show up easily and effortlessly. And all it has to be is, I forgive, and then ... whoever that is. I'm ready to release all my resentment into the divine matrix, because I'm building this beautiful divine matrix with you as you listen to this. So there's a Hawaiian prayer called the Ho'oponopono prayer. I was doing this prayer with a client today, and I just want to share that with you, which is to say, because all forgiveness of others really does at the core level mean forgiving yourself. So the 4 statements are, I'm sorry, and then your name. So you can just say, I'm sorry. Please forgive me. Your name. I love you. and thank you. And just notice if there's a release in your heart toward yourself or anyone else. So much about love is being able to clear away the space that is in the way of being able to love fully and completely. And right now, I know that this 3 months of us being in this Venus energy is about us being able to feel love for ourselves in all the ways that we are living, the way in which we're living. Is it self-loving? Are our health habits self-loving? So now I'm going to call in, once again, we're going to call in the goddess Venus. And imagine that there is a goddess. And if you're not a visualizer, just feel the presence of Venus in your heart. And what does she want to say to you? What are the words she wants you to know right now? And if you don't hear anything, then allow yourself to imagine she's extending a symbol that's a gift. And just notice what that symbol is she wants you to have, that is her gift to you. And just keep letting the love in. Keep letting the love in. And just notice if there's any place in your body that wants healing right at this moment. Where does love want to go? Where does the goddess's love want to go in your body to help you heal? And just breathing through your mouth down into your body, just letting it go. Let your intuition guide you in terms of where it wants to go. And then gently allow yourself to come back to the room, opening your eyes. And just notice how you feel as a result of having Venus with you. As you notice how it feels to have forgiven yourself or someone else. Does it feel lighter? Do you feel lighter? Taking a couple of another nice deep breaths as you come back to the room. So there's a mantra that I would like to offer that's chanted all through India. It's the chant is Om, O-M, Nama, N-A-M-A, Nama. It's actually phonetically often spelled Om, O-M, N-A-M-A-H, so that you get the Nama. And the last word is Shivaya, and that's spelled S as in Sam, H as in Harry, I as in Indigo, V as in Victor, A as in Apple, Y as in Yes, A as in Apple. Shivaya, Om Namah Shivaya. Now, this particular chant, as I said, it's chanted all over the world, but in India very commonly, is a chant that can be used for protection. So when you go out in the world, and this is rather it's now during this particular period that we're in, or at any time where you feel either other people's fear around you. And, when we're looking around and seeing people in surgical masks and gloves, there can be this tendency to go into fear, to feel fear, or to feel other people's fear. So this, when you are aware, become aware that your body is feeling some anxiety, this will cut right through. It's the mantra of protection, and it will up your frequency. What it means, literally in Sanskrit, is I bow down to the inner self, to my inner God self. I bow down to the inner God self. Now, if you are ascribed to a particular religion or to Christianity, and that doesn't allow for you to think of yourself as God, I know I grew up Catholic, and we were actually taught that God lived inside of us. So whatever is comfortable for you. But Om Namah Shivaya means I bow down to the inner self. But what it actually does is it literally helps your ego mind merge with that which is undivisible, unity, consciousness, love, only love. So if you're in the grocery store or you're out and about and you're aware of feeling anxiety of any kind, or at home, at any time while you're at home and you're feeling anxiety, let's say you just watched something that was disturbing on television or on the internet. If you chant this, and you can chant this repetitively, the formal ritual for chanting this is to actually repeat it 108 times, but you can do it as many times as feels comfortable until you start to feel your body just relaxing, getting more comfortable. So Om Namah Shivaya is one way of cutting through the ego's fear when you're feeling out of balance. The other thing that I highly recommend is spiritual cleansing. And what I mean by that is, at night we take a shower, right? We take a shower, or in the morning we take a shower, sometimes twice a day. When you go out into the world, we become affected. Our etheric body, this, energetic body that surrounds our physical body, can take on the energy of other people, literally. That's why certain people's energy, if they're depressed or they're negative, can affect our energy, right? Your energy can go down. So when you're aware that you are coming home and feeling depleted from having been out in the world in any way, or from anyone you're interacting with in your home, do this spiritual cleansing. And that spiritual cleansing is to literally command anyone or anything, because this can be a microbe, that is not me, go back to whence you came. Anyone or anything that is attached to my etheric body that is not me, go back to whence you came. Anyone or anything attached to my physical body, the actual, skin and bones of you, anyone or anything that has attached to my physical body that is not me, go back to whence you came. Another mantra, so to speak, that is a cleansing ritual, is to simply say, anyone or anything that is not supporting me in radiant health, go back to whence you came. Because maybe there are people who's, you want their energy, if it's loving energy around you, that's fine. So that's another, affirmation. Anyone or anything that is not supporting me being in radiant health, go back to whence you came. So those are two little tips for tonight. I'm going to be offering different kinds of things that will support your immune system during this next 3 months. I will be doing one on the new moon in a little less than 2 weeks, and that will be the new moon in Taurus, and that's another Venus ruled moon. So Venus is going to be playing a huge role, and in our next little talk here, a little gathering here between you and me, I will be talking about the Venus, not just Venus out of balance, but when Venus goes retrograde, which will be in mid-May. So for now, we're just going to I'm going to start to move you now into the second meditation, which is meant to be an activation for upping the frequency of our entire planet. All of the people on it, all the sentient beings, it means all the animals included, but we want to put a special focus on the health workers that are on the front line and the police officers. I was talking to a client today who is a retired police officer, and we were working on a dream he'd had, and one of the things that came out of that dream recall was he realized that he'd always been on the force when major catastrophes happened in this country. When we had the Loma Prieta earthquake in San Francisco, because he lives in the Bay Area, and when we had 9/11, he was on the force, and in his dream he was doing something. So I had suggested to him, why don't you see if there can be some kind of support that you can offer to police officers and their families, in a volunteer capacity, because he had lung issues. So he was afraid to actually go out and do things, that would involve, compromising his body potentially. So I said, that's something you can do with your phone from home. So there are lots of things we can be doing globally. I have another client who has taken on helping to coordinate food and clothing for a homeless shelter, because they're really needing. They're in a lot of challenge right now. So that's what she was doing from her home. So there's lots of ways we can be supporting people across the world. One of the things that I've talked about in my book, that's coming out, The Lifequake Miracle, in June, is how altruism actually stimulates the immune system. We know this from a lot of data, a lot of clinical research. So anything you can do to help others right now will actually strengthen your immune system. So we're going to do this last guided meditation now. And just closing your eyes, getting comfortable. Once again, placing hands over your heart. Yes, yes, yes. And with your hands over your heart, sending out, just like you sent love into your heart through your hands, sending love out to all those on the front line across the world, working in hospitals, healthcare facilities, risking their lives. We're going to send them a healing and a support and a protection to keep their immune systems strong and healthy. And take a moment now and just think if there's particular groups of people that come to mind for you that you want to send a special kind of supportive prayer to. Take the moment to do that now. And just notice how that feels. How does it feel in your body to be sending out love and healing energy to people who need it on the planet? You may feel your hands getting warmer as you're sending that energy out. There's all kinds of, we have chakras in our hands, just like in our feet, that we literally can send healing energy that are very powerful. And together with me, we're going to close with this kind of affirmation. We are one family. Just repeat this after me. We are one family. We are one global family now. Love is all there is. And just take a moment and allow yourself to repeat that. Love is all there is. There's a big orientation right now about being at home to feel safe. And that's very much in line with the energy of Cancer, astrological sign of Cancer, which we're, as I said before, we're moving toward this eclipse in Cancer. But I would invite you in my closing with you tonight to actually feel safe inside yourself. There's a wonderful little prayer that I say: I am safe, I am secure, I am surrounded by love. So let's do that together. I am safe, I am secure, I am surrounded by love. Good night.